So I actually got a comment of my very first viewer request. So I wanted to make the request a thing. They wanted a Crobat Arceus deck. I figured I could probably just fit Dragalge in there and somehow make it work some of the time. So I put in a baby Arceus because it's worth 1 point and 3 energy is far too much if you're attacking with Dragalge, and you can get 2 of them set up pretty quickly. So Arceus EX isn't the way to go. Running 2 copies of Licia just because both Skrelp and Zubat have 50 HP each. That raises the chance of your Pokeball drawing your Arceus to about 50%. And it's not the worst thing in the world to stumble across it on your deck. Going against a an Arceus, Greninja, and Mega Blastoise, or just regular Blastoise deck. Who knows, really? I was looking for a rare candy there to evolve my Zubat to attempt to retreat for 1 energy. Then I could get Dragalge, or retreat for no energy, sorry. Free retreat cost. You know what I said. You know what I meant. I know what I meant. They're powering up the Arceus. They're going to deal about 100 damage with 2 Pokemon on their bench. Doesn't seem like they're finding any of their other pieces. This Zubat is guaranteed. My Pokeball will find Arceus, so I can go ahead and evolve it. And now I can retreat into Dragalge. And even though Dragalge can't poison Arceus, 2 80s in a row, there's not very many worlds other than like Pokemon Center Lady, which heals for 30. Or I think you also need like an Indeedee on your bench or like some sort of poison. Now I can evolve my Crobat. Crobat, as long as there is an Arceus in play in the active spot or the bench, it can deal 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for free. It's like a Darkrai, but in an ability. And on a 110 HP Pokemon that deals 50 damage for 1 energy. So it is a pretty solid Oricorio answer. My opponent, of course, here is not running Oricorio, and it looks like they have just about given up if they're coming up to attack with the Froakie, but they also were running a Primarina, I guess. Too many Pokemon in that deck. Far too many Pokemon in that deck. This time I went against an Indeedee and Duskull. Don't know what they were doing. And there was fighting energy. The weird part is there was fighting energy. Like, what do you think that deck could possibly be? What Pokemon that's fighting do you run with Indeedee and do you run with Duskull? I'd love to know what you think in the comments. I think my answer would be something along the lines of like Mamoswine, I suppose, because then you can like have it be healed and attack for 160 for 4 energy, which is not great, but it's certainly a thing that you can do, I suppose. My opponent bricked, so we'll never know. And this battle ends pretty predictably. When the Indeedee in the front, it's fighting and psychic energy, and they have a Marshadow. Like, what's that deck? This looks like it was against Lunala Dusknoir, and I think that it is a great showcase of what this deck is capable of if you're able to attack very, very quickly. So you're going turn 2, you're able to open with a Skrelp, you get your Zubat, and you can just start swinging immediately. This might even be good in the upcoming meta, because the upcoming meta is going to be really psychic heavy. Playing my Skrelp down just so I can play Copycat for 2 more cards. Excuse me, see if I can't find my Dragalge. And do I locate it? No, not quite. So I put the energy on the other Skrelp. That way, like, worst comes to worst, I now have 2 Dragalges, potentially. They stiffen for minus 50 damage, but there is my Dragalge. I would say this is the ideal bench setup for this deck. You have 1 Crobat, 1 Arceus, and you have up to 2 Dragalge. That way, like, you have that Sabrina protection late game, and it's pretty much the same game plan no matter what. Sabrina doesn't really change that. Crobat and Dragalge do both go down to, like, Altaria and Greninja. They go down to, like, some sort of, like, helmeted Hydreigon. So they don't do amazingly, I think, against Altaria variant decks specifically. But what they do go well against is Suicune, because you put one Dragalge up front, and you go turn 2 especially, you're just going to start hitting that Suicune in the face pretty quickly. I would say that's your large game plan. Crobat's capable of doing that kind of thing too, but you do need access to your Arceus, or potentially even a second Crobat, or build a Dragalge as soon as you can. So yeah, I don't think it does terribly, weirdly enough, into Suicune specifically. Greninja's a little bit rough, but as long as like you get the first attack off and maybe they didn't bench their Indeedee, or they haven't scored a point, you can still play around that. This deck does run a Cyrus as well, so that Greninja EX wouldn't be capable of going anywhere this time. This deck is up against a Stoutland and Magnezone variant. This was a pretty scary matchup to play. You got Stoutland, which can increase the attack cost of your active Pokemon, so I'm not going to be able to build that second Skrelp in the back at the moment. It doesn't necessarily matter too much in the tempo of things, because I'm going to be able to start putting energy on that. Stoutland as well, swinging for 70. The Magnezone can make you coin flip. These decks hurt, and they're running Lily too, so they have some healing, able to repeat a couple of things. I'm really hoping for a Arceus here. I would say. I think an Arceus is a better play, looking for that Arceus. Yeah, you have May and even Pokeball in your hand, and you had all of your other basics. I was maybe thinking long-term I wanted to build a second Dragalge. Oh, yeah. I wanted to build a second Dragalge so that I would have both, like, some sort of protection against Sabrina. Crobat's got 110, so it survives any attack once that this deck throws at it. And that way I would have had time to build up my second Dragalge. And now that they're attacking with Magnezone as well, I am able to attack with 2 instead of Stoutland, making me cost 3. And then I can put Arceus down and start Crobat. So I was long-term thinking. My apologies there. I think my opponent is pretty checkmated at this point. I don't know if they have a way forward necessarily, because Crobat's able to KO. That's what's nice about Crobat, is at the end of the day, like, Arceus and itself do take up room, but it's just a 30 damage Darkrai, and I think personally that's pretty underutilized in today's meta. Like, you don't have to run Arceus EX. You can just find something that's worth a single point. I'd run that. I lingered on the screen a little bit because I thought that was a very good match, showcasing what Dragalge is capable of, I think. Lots of people, I think, I was talking about this, it's really easy to write off, like, mid-tier decks or EXs, and yeah, you're not going to place in ranked with them. And I could be wrong. There could be a ranked deck with Dragalge right now. After all, there is a bunch of poison Hydreigons running around. So you might be able to do something with it. I don't know necessarily what you would do with it, but you might be able to do something with it. Weirdly enough, why not pair it with Hydreigon and, like, one copy of Nihilego, see what you're capable of? Who knows? Opponent's running Kingdra, but they still have 1 turn to attack. This game's so fast now, man. It's almost as if, like, every card almost is Pikachu EX at this moment in time. But Dragalge is pretty good to get here. I was waiting until the next turn to play Licia so that I can get my Arceus out of my deck, pull my other Zubat out, then use Pokeball to pull Arceus out, then you Rare Candy, Crobat, ability, and Dragalge gets the knockout. Just like that. So you can, I think Licia is, like, it's very, very strong. There aren't a lot of Pokemon with 50 HP, but there are starting to be more. And you're starting to actually make decks out of, you know, it. And it's kind of power creeping Pokeball out of the meta, just slightly. Or putting it in a position where it can do things like this. Kind of runs 2 copies of a basic in your deck. And it's Pokeball. It's Pokeball. Like, that card's always at least going to get you a basic. And early game, that'll let you continue the match for sure. Up against a Dugtrio. I'm so Dugtrio brain rotted that I forgot what Dugtrio was. It's an Alolan Dugtrio deck. I was playing this in ranked mode. Don't know what an Alolan Dugtrio is doing in ranked. But it at the very least gives me a very interesting, like... You ever lose your train of thought? It gives you a very interesting Master Ball experience, for sure. And then you have May, and that's pretty likely to find you a Dragalge. I think the math there was like 40%, which isn't like the best in the world, but Dragalge just wins you the game. A Dragalge just wins you the game right there, so why not go for it? Why not go for it? I have been experimenting with a lot of different ways of recording content recently, just trying to find something that maybe better works for me. I don't know if y'all like all of these like post commentary videos. This one's even got sped up gameplay. So I'm trying a lot of different things. Matches like these are unfortunately kind of hard to commentate because, I mean, like, they're going to be played straightforward. Just look for the Dragalge. They're going to play their Dugtrio. They're going to play their Dugtrio, and you just kind of go in a straight line and play around what your opponent's maybe possibly doing. But they conceded because maybe they saw no way forward or whatever. Don't remember what this match was specifically, although I do see an Arceus and a rare candy in my hand, which is kind of nutty. I don't know why I touched my research and touched my deck there. Like, yeah, there's 15 cards in there. Oh, I was thinking about the fact that, like, wait a minute, I can't use rare candy anymore. There's not a whole lot I can do about this Chingling. I can poison it and it'll die next turn, but I won't necessarily be able to do Crobat. It was at this moment that I realized they were running Psychic Energy and there was a Froakie. And they got a Greninja super duper early. So, like, what do you do? You have an Altaria and a Greninja already set up and just staring you down. There's not a whole lot you can do. You just have to hope that your opponent bricks on their Mega Altaria. And that's not great. That's not great. That is, however, the best draw you can get with Pokeball there, in my opinion. And you can attack one more turn unless they have X speed and they have an Altaria. And I think maybe possibly they did. No, actually, they locked my Arceus up front. That is what happened. And then they just started plowing through me. And, you know, there's not really anything you can do at that point. Especially, you can hope that they don't have another Cyrus. But that's really all you can do. It's pretty bleak if they get that set up. So I conceded. So, hello. That was the Dragalge deck. What we have in here once again is we have... Oh, hey, look at that. I actually cut out the second see you later for a giant cape. Interesting. I didn't get any games recorded with that. But this has been the Dragalge deck. You're running 2 Zubats and 2 Skrelps, the 50 HP version, so that they work with Licia. You're running Crobat, and Arceus, just so you have that 30 damage either in the active or on the bench. Just 30 is a giant number in this game, even still, just per turn. Dragalge, of course, with the ability to poison its opponents if they hit them, having a built-in poison barb. Got a bunch of, like, draw cards, a, kind of like tech card. So there is room for a tech card in here, if you so please. I think Golbat is also kind of a tech card, works well-ish with May. Double rare candy. Excuse me, just to get Crobat online. And I think that just about does it. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And I'm trying to make more of these. I'm trying to experiment once again with my recording style. This time the game was sped up to 2x and I kind of just yapped the whole time. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. Just let me know a bunch of feedback in the comments about what style you like, what you've liked watching of me so far, and what you'd like to see more of in the future. Hey, thank you. I love you all. Goodbye.